What's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the ultimate wooden survival base of 2019. In Minecraft, this build is a huge wooden survival house that has a lot of utilities and plenty of secrets. Let's take a look. First of all, the house has a lot of farmland built into it, plenty of places to grow your crops. On the side of the house, we have a built-in barn for all of your animal friend needs. On the back of your house, you will have a built-in mine shaft, so you don't have to go very far to start your adventures. However, it is clearly separated from all of the other rooms of the house, so you're not in any danger. The house also features a built-in nether portal on the second level. We even have a built-in water slide. Whee! That was fun. The base is built in such a way that you naturally have to explore it. For instance, you can only access the first level through this door to the side and this door on the front. There are no interior stairs or ladders, which means if you want to explore a floor, you have to find the entrance to that floor first. And there are plenty of things to explore once you find the particular floors. Every floor of the house is split into many rooms. Every room serves some sort of a purpose, even if at first glance it doesn't really seem like it. How sneaky. You really do have to be careful not to miss any doors, as you will find that most parts of the house aren't accessible unless you go a particular way. The exploration really doesn't stop. There's also options around the base to add additional hidden rooms. Hidden in this beetroot patch, we have a trapdoor which leads down to an ender chest, which of course has access to all of our diamonds. And that's the house. Without any further ado, let's get started. So, just before we start building, ladies and gentlemen, here are all of the materials that we are going to be using throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of those and enough of those materials as well. The amount of space that you need to make your base is a 32 by 34 block area. Do feel free to make this grid in your world just to make sure that your base will fit, but it really isn't necessary. And that's it. Pause the video if you have to. Do make sure that you have all of those materials, enough of them. Make sure you've got enough room to make it. Make sure that you're ready to own a pretty awesome wooden survival ultimate base. And once you're ready, we can begin. Step 1, base building buddies. Come all the way to the front right hand corner of your grid. If you've not built it, it is no big deal. This is just the starting point for those that have. Count to the left by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is where we're going to kick things off. Place 4 oak planks on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. Extend that 4th plank backwards by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On top of that 9th block, I want you to place 7 more oak planks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Extending inside the build, I want you to place 4 more oak planks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go down by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. What we are now going to do is we are going to start building backwards from the block that we just extended down. So what I want you to do is I want you to take this block that we did indeed extend down and extend it backwards by 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Extend to the left by 3. 1, 2, 3. Extend inwards towards the back of the build by 2. 1, 2. Extend left by 1. And then inwards by 1. Extend to the left by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then towards you by 1. We now want to do a couple of things. Number 1, we want to extend this block downwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. We then want to extend left by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to extend backwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I understand that we have created an incredibly abstract shape. This will all actually make sense a little bit later on. Things will literally just piece together like magic. Don't you worry about it. But what I want you to do from here is I want you to come all the way back to the start-ish of the build. I want you to come to this point. This is the last point that we extended backwards before extending inwards. I want you to extend this corner block backwards by a total of 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're then going to join this block down to the ground. There we go. I want you to take the block that hit the ground, and I want you to extend it coming backwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I also want you to extend upwards by 2. 1, 2. And then left by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Join down to the ground. But additionally, we are going to extend forwards. We actually want to extend this entire row of 3 forwards by 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And you can place 2 additional rows on top of that so that the entire row has indeed been extended. But what we will also want to do with this particular part of the building is we will want to join it to the main building, which means extending inwards by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And you can just fill these rows in if you like. You can make it a blank canvas, so to speak. You can do this at the back of the build as well, where we have all of these rows. Later on, before we add windows and details, we will indeed be turning this into really an entire blank canvas. For instance, this entire right side of the build can be extended upwards so that all of the rows slot together, and you can actually fill this entire area here in using oak planks. You see, later on, this entire area, this big shape that we have created, this is going to be a main wall of the house, but it is going to connect to our barn. The barn is separate to the house. You can't access it without actually going outside, so hence you can just completely fill this very large wall in here using oak planks. Additionally, this wall here as well can also be filled in using oak planks. You are more than welcome to add details later. As a matter of fact, I would encourage it. However, it's best to do that later on. You see, now we have a shape that makes a lot more sense. And if you want to go one step further, you can by extending and filling in all of this empty space that we have created here. All of these rows can be extended down. We can create a nice, big, solid shape that is the frame of the house. And as we go around adding details to the house, you will be able to add your own entrances and windows and anything that you might want to have on a survival base. I, of course, will advise you on where I think is best to add windows and other particular details. However, the choice will inevitably be up to you. I think that you'll find that as you complete your survival base, as we do actually reach the end of the tutorial, I think that you will find that you kind of get a gist when you're doing the inside of what you're going to be wanting where. So my idea of like where I want to have windows and doors and details and all of that and stairs, you might choose a different path. But you can see this is the blank canvas that we have created so far. It looks a little bit daunting at the moment, but trust me when I tell you that all of this is going to piece together very nicely and logically. So now that we're on the back of the build, I want you to come to this point here, which is the long road that we extended backwards initially to create the barn. I want you to extend it to the right by 13 using your oak planks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I then want you to extend down by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I want you to extend forwards a little bit. Extend forwards by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like this. So you can see how this all connects together rather well. We're also going to extend that 7th block downwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then forwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go down by 1. Forwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. Go down by 1. Forwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. Go down by 1. And forwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have kind of this very peculiar shape right now. Now that we have this very peculiar shape, I want you to, in the ground, dig from the end of the shape, just dig 2 rows, replace them with birch planks, stick an oak plank on the end of that row, extend it forwards by 2, 1, 2, go right by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go forwards by 2, 1, 2, and go right. Actually, there's no point in going right yet because we don't have the correct material on us, but that will all connect together. So this is the shape that we have created thus far, and what we're now going to do is start building backwards from this single oak plank that we extended forwards, and you want to extend it backwards by 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. And then extend up, and then go backwards to the right by 3. 1, 2, 3. Go up 1, extend right by 3, go up 1, and extend right by 2. 1, 2. So we will have something which should look like this. You can see it's quite parallel to the stairs. But these areas here are actually going to serve an interesting purpose. It's where we're going to have a little bit of a farming area. I want you to take this oak plank here at the front and extend right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want you to do the same with the next ledge upwards. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. And then down at the bottom here, I want you to leave a gap of 2. And then also, I want you to, like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Or as a matter of fact, we might use birchwood planks here so that it actually fades into the decking area. Like this. So you can see that you've got like 4 equal ledges. This is where the plants are going to go. You can actually fill these areas in with dirt. The dirt comes across by the same amount that the oak wood planks do. So if you simply place your dirt like this to just fill in these areas, that's perfect, you'll have something which should look exactly like that, which is absolutely perfect. So now that you have done that, I do want to construct a little bit more of the base. So if we come all the way up to the back right corner of the last planter, I want you to place a birchwood plank going right of it, with an oakwood plank on the opposite side. Extend the oakwood plank forwards by 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go right by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then forwards by 3, 1, 2, 3. go right by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And at this point, we are inevitably going to need the birch stairs. So if you just swap the dirt out for them, it should be okay. I want you to extend across towards the front of the build by 1, 2 birch stairs. Place an oak plank on the end. And then I want you to extend the oak planks forwards by 1, 2, 3, 4. So that it kind of matches that row to the opposite side of us. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you might be able to see how this is laid out even more. We're doing a really good job here, by the way. I want to add more rows of oak planks in here so that you kind of get a gist of how things get put together. So, for instance, all of these inner oak planks here, starting from the outer part of the base, working their way towards the planters, all of these oak planks can be extended downwards. These are going to be walls, both inside and outside of the house. You can even join it together here on the right side. We also want to, of course, like I said, do the interior walls as well. Despite the fact that I have placed that row completely wrong, you guys still get the gist. You want to join the rows of floating oak wood down to the ground like so. And this is going to shape the inside of the build nicely. So you are more than welcome, of course, to change this a little bit if you want the interior to be laid out in a different way. But I do find that it is best to start with a nice big solid shape, and then you can add in like literal walls and stuff later on. So we even want to extend these steps here down all the way to the ground as well, just like this. That's looking pretty good if I do say so myself. And then we also want to do the same thing here to the frame on the left side. So where we have all of these oak wood planks, where we are going to have some stairs that take us all the way up around the outside of the build, we also want to have these oak planks here. So this is going to actually form, again, a lot of this is wall building for the inside as well as out. You can even go as far as connecting this together as well on the upper level. This is going to be a room all by itself too, just like that. And you can even connect the entire back together too. So you can completely just fill in this area. There is going to be a little bit more space as well. We're going to have a porch on the left side of the build that's going to wrap around quite a bit, but we're going to add that in just a moment, just before we start adding all of the stairs and pathways around this build, which is an incredibly important part of this build, of course. So you can see here we are doing more and more work with the frame. It's actually looking really impressive at the moment. Very well done for reaching this point, if you have. And now that you have completed that, we are going to add some of the finishing touches in regards to the actual house itself. So this is going to be a somewhat tricky point to find, but on the left side of the build, I want you to locate this block here. I'm sure you'll be able to find it kind of just by eyeballing it, but like where we have the third ledge, 1, 2, 3, it's the bottom block in the ledge. I want you to extend it across by using 2 oak wood slabs, like this. I want you to dig 2 blocks in the ground, 1, 2, replace those with birch wood planks, stick an oak plank on the end here, and then this is where the fun begins. So I want you to grab your oak wood slabs again, and I want you to extend the plank backwards by 10 using your oak wood slabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Extend down, so that's marked out. And then extend backwards by an additional 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then mark that down. Then extend this plank across the back of the build by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Join it down using your oak slabs. And then use oak wood planks now and extend across by an additional 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just like that. And we're going to join back to the house. And we will have a shape that should look exactly like this. So now that we have connected back to the house, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to, on top of every plank, add 3 more oak planks. 1, 2, 3. So not only is it important to add all of these 3 oak planks on top of all of the oak planks that we have just used to connect back to the house, but some of the oak slabs also got turned into planks, so you can do those. The only one that I wouldn't recommend doing is this one here at the front. I'm going to place birch fence on top of all of these slabs and the lower planks like this, or the lower planker, I should say. There is only one over there. I also want to connect this wall here back to the front of the house. We are going to make a solid wall here where we have this porch area like this. And this is what we are looking at currently. We have a pretty empty but really interesting design shaped base. Once again, well done, ladies and gentlemen. We have almost made an entire blank canvas. The last few things that we have to do before we can start adding major details to the house is we have to add pathways, planks, decking, and roofs. Those sort of things before we can start really sinking our teeth into this. So once you've reached this point here, the next thing that we are going to do is establish all of the walkways around the house. So why don't we start here on the left? We already kind of started a little bit earlier by placing these birch planks here. I'm going to dig backwards 2 rows from these 2 initial birch planks, and I'm going to replace them using birch planks. On the second row, I'm going to place some birchwood stairs. This is how I'm going to get up and down this particular area. It might even be better to place a few sets of birchwood stairs that lead us up to the actual top of the base, like so. In between the stairs, we are of course going to want to place some birchwood planks. You can place these in any way, shape or form that you like. I kind of like the pattern of like 2 planks, stairs, 2 planks, stairs, 2 planks, stairs, all the way up to the top here. I'm going to fill this upper area in as well using birchwood planks too. So this entire area here, where we have this big flat surface that will lead us around to the front set of stairs, all of this can be birchwood planks. Birchwood planks make a nice contrast material against oak wood, and it's not a massive contrast either. It's a nice subtle contrast. That's what I quite like about it. It's not in your face like, say, dark oak wood and birch would be, because they are 2 really different colours. But oak and birch seem to complement each other very much. It's becoming one of my favourite sort of colour combinations to work with. So now you can see we have established a decking area. That is the second story. We also have to do the first story, so like where we will initially walk on into the house. We have a set of stairs here already on the right, so you can join those downwards towards the ground. You only have to place 2 diagonal pairs like this, as the decking itself is going to be raised. We have a small gap here between the set of stairs that takes you to the second story and this ground set. I want you to place 3 birchwood stairs here that will take you onto the decking. We're going to fill the remaining area in using birchwood planks. You only have to fill this area in here. This area where there is a gap is actually going to have kind of like an irrigation system in which it's going to have flowing water, which not only looks nice but it also helps out the plants a little bit. So underneath this kind of like weirdly placed a birch plank here up at the top, I'm going to place a birch plank underneath it, destroy the one on top, and I just want to create a flowing sense of birchwood planks that are going to allow us to just place a water in there, and then water shall just flow down next to all of the plants that we're going to be placing. So you can see that actually looks pretty decent, doesn't it? That's not too bad. So now that we've kind of like created all of the decking and all of these surfaces on the kind of like the ground and second levels, we do also have a third level to think about, which is here. So this third level, it kind of flows nicely actually from the from like this whole set of stairs here. All we're gonna do is add an extra row of birchwood planks extending backwards between these two rows of oak wood, and we're just going to place 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of birchwood stairs coming all the way up from the second story decking, and they will actually fit perfectly between that last set of oak wood planks. If you fill in the top of this area using birchwood planks like this, you will have created a way to access the third level. So in reality, this third level would also carry with it like an interior floor. So what that means is, and this is kind of consistent throughout the entire build, where we have the decking on the outside of the build, say on the ground level, you'll have the same on the inside of the house. Where we have the decking on the second story, you'll have the same for the inside, and also, of course, the third. So you kind of know where the stories of the house are as well. On the very left side of the build here, in this fenced off area, I want to create an additional sort of decking. It's 2 levels. We have a ground level and just a slightly above ground level here. So if we take this oak post and extend it right by 1, 2 using oak slabs, and then simply place 2 birchwood stairs against that, hitting the house. Fill in the decking area using birchwood planks like this, and then you'll have created kind of like a 2-level split in the actual floor, which is, it just looks quite nice. I'm going to also just create a birch wood path that kind of like connects all the way to these 2 birch woods here that we have initially at the front of the house. So right here, that's perfect. And then we'll be making a farm and a little secret here later on. So now that we have done that, it's actually kind of appropriate for us to add in some of the roofs. So the roofs are quite simple. The first of which we're going to take care of is the decking roof here, the outdoor decking porch area. So, extending outwards from this post here, all of the roofs are made in the same way. You want to place a birchwood slab, extend forwards, in, up, in, up, in, up, in, up, in, up, like that, using slabs. And you want to extend this around all of the posts that we have created, around the back here. It's going to come, it's going to come around the back side of this, and it's going to wrap around this part of the build here. So once we reach this back edge, we're going to extend in, up, in, up, in, up, in, up, and then of course in and up, just like this. So all you will have to do is place birchwood slabs extending around and connecting from one side to the other. Once we hit a particular point in this build, once we've kind of placed the roofs, I'll show you how to plug any gaps that we will inevitably create between the edges of the roof and the walls of the house. But this is kind of how these roofs are going to go. It's quite a simple design, but it's a really nice one. You see, it does fit the build quite nicely. So, an additional part of the build as well is a large roof, kind of all the way up at the top of the house. And it's going to start in 2 places, and it's going to join in the middle. The first place that it's going to begin is at the front of the build, here. You might remember this area that we made a long time ago. If you take the side of the house and place a birchwood slab, extend it so it's sticking outwards, and then extend in, up, in, up, in, up, that's the middle. So we want to take the block underneath and extend left, down, left. So you can see it just sits perfectly on the outer part of that roof there. You want to do the same thing, by the way, all the way over here. So where we have this longer surface. So it's going to be a bit trickier to actually place this roof. But if you take the edge of the actual wall, extend a birchwood slab out of it, and then again, and then extend in, up, in, up, in, up, and then in, up. And you're going to find that this is an even wall, which means we have to place a row of birchwood slabs to the right, and then take the lower right birchwood slab and then extend right, down, right, down, right, down, right. So you'll see that that is an odd number, or an even number roof, I should say. But the idea here is that we will extend the birchwood slabs across, around, and then connect to the front of the roof, such as this. So we now, of course, have this predicament here of how we fill in the roof. How do we connect that part to that part? Well, we're actually going to begin by extending the larger part of the roof across. It'll extend across the back, and we actually want to copy it from there to here. So we kind of want to extend this slab that's overhanging inwards, up, in, up, in, up, in, up. And then you can see that we have to extend across just one row. And then we take the lower bottom block, left, down, left, down, left, down, left. And then that will actually join to this side of the roof. So in essence, what we will have is we will have this shape right here. So we will connect this side of the roof, these actual sides, we'll connect the left and right sides together. And then we will connect the front and back part of the roof together as well. I'd highly recommend beginning by extending the long side together first. So, you know, the bigger part, pretty much, the harder part to work on. If you extend this across, join together. If you then take the smaller part of the roof, extend it backwards, it will connect to the back part of the roof quite easily. And then we'll just have a small little, what I would refer to as miscellaneous part of the roof exposed, but we can sort that out no problem. So you can see that all joins together very nicely because we're using slabs. And then here you can just kind of like patch this in using some birchwood slabs as well. And that's all you'll have to do. You can see how that all goes together. And it really does make a huge difference, doesn't it? That's like a massive part of the house done now, ladies and gentlemen. Very well done. Now that we have done that, there is just one more roof to take care of, and it is all the way over here. And this is the barn area. So with the barn, just as with pretty much everywhere else, the roof is going to be made in the same way. Start from the front and place an entire row of birchwood slabs extending across the top of the front. You'll have one block extending over the side by one. We are now going to kind of figure out the height of the roof. We're probably going to extend this birchwood plank inwards and upwards about, how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 times. So we'll do that inwards and upwards once, in up twice, in up 3 times, in up 4 times, in up 5, in up 6, in up 7. About 7 times. And as long as you do the same on the back, that's what's important here, as long as you do the same on the back, so you place a row of birchwood slabs hanging across the end of the back, and then you extend in and up 7 times. So in up once, in up twice, in up 3 times, in up 4, in up 5, in up 6, in up 7. As long as it is the same, you won't really run into too many problems. So then you can connect the front and the back part of the build together, such as this. You can take the front and back parts of the roof and you can extend them so that they overhang the side of the build like this. So this is just a nice little sticky out part of the build like here. That's good. And then of course you will want to connect the roof together side to side. I did mention earlier that we will have a few gaps in these roofs as well. You can see it over there, as a matter of fact. There's a little bit of a gap in the wall between the roof and the actual, like, well, the wall. But we can sort that out no problem once we actually get there. So we do have, after this, just one more, I would call it one more little structural part of the build to do before we actually do move on to little details, such as we'll be adding flowers and plants and windows and doorways. We'll be adding all of those things, but after this we do have just one more special little thing that we're going to be doing that actually does make quite a bit of difference, so we can't really skip past it. Am I doing this correctly? I am. Perfect. So once we have place this roof right here, and do remember it's just a case of like connecting one side to the other, shouldn't be too difficult. We'll have something which should look like this. So that's perfect. The most drastic example of like spaces in walls is where we have the actual like the roof to the barn. So all you do to fill in these gaps is exactly how you might imagine. Where you can, you place oak wood planks on the insides of the walls. You fill in the gaps above them using birch wood slabs. That's all you do. So you do that on both sides, and it's easier done from the inside than it is the outside. So you find any gaps that you can, and you place where you can oak wood planks, and then you just fill in underneath the little gaps using birch wood slabs. So that's the easiest way to kind of like just fill in those little gaps. I'm going to create a little entrance here just so that I can get out. But you can see now that really does fix the problem. And we have the same thing here, although I'm not going to do the inside portion. We have the same thing here. You'll have a gap in this roof wall here as well. Just there. Here. Where else will we have one? We should have one on this opposite side here. We've actually got quite a large gap. It's kind of like kind of inignorable, really. So here, and then we just want to place some slabs as well, of course. And where else might we have some? So we'll have a gap up here as well. And I know for a fact that there is a very small one on the front. So I've got a gap there. And just one gap there. So that is absolutely all of the gaps 100% fully plugged up. Very well done again, ladies and gentlemen. We edge even closer to having our ultimate survival base. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to use birch fence, and I want to fence off quite a few areas, and I want to create a little balcony as well. So the first area that I want to add fence to is this little 2-row of oak slabs down here. Just a little fence, just down here. I want to add a bit of fence to the upper part of the kind of wall that we have here. So just this wall, not all the way down, because this is a part where you could actually quite easily fall off. I also want to have some around this terrace area here. This is going to highlight the fact that you should probably come up and explore here. I also want to have it all the way around the inner part of the second story terraces. So here, here. It's possible to fall off here, so I do want to have the fence here as well. So all the way around there, anywhere that you might potentially fall off, and it kind of shows you where the parts are. I also want to add a little bit of fence around here where we have this lower sort of farm, and I kind of want to guide people towards that entranceway there as well. So pretty much that is what we are going to want to have in terms of like fence, and it kind of just adds a nice structure around the house. I also want to add a balcony though to this area here, to the front right hand corner second story / third story of the house. The balcony is going to be set so like you have half a block exposed here. It's going to be set not this, not this, not this, but here, kind of like right in the middle here. It's going to be made out of 2 rows of birch wood planks here. It's going to extend around this particular shape of the house, like this. You're going to have 2 rows of birchwood planks in kind of like an L shape, like so. and we're going to place some oak wood slabs around the top of the birch, and it's going to add an interesting shape to the base, and of course it's going to add an additional balcony which can be useful for stuff. So if you add a bit of birchwood fence around it as well, you will have created quite a nice little outlooking area, like so. It really does just add a little bit of something. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I kind of want to add some details to the house. So that involves like a lot of doors, it involves a bit of glass pane, it involves some white stained glass. Like, we're going to be adding doors and windows to the house. And of course, you are more than welcome to add your own, but let me show you where I had in mind entrances and windows and furnishings and all that sort of stuff, right? So, let's start. I'm going to begin with the left side of the house. All the way here underneath the porch, somewhere along here, I would like a double door. It doesn't have to be that specific. So maybe if we leave like a gap of 2 from the entranceway and we have like a double door leading into the house. That's actually a perfect position, right? So a double door leading directly into the house like this. If you like, you are more than welcome to add a window or so around the door. You could even add kind of like a little window in here, perhaps like a slightly larger one, just to kind of let people know that there might be a little hidden room in there if you want to make one. You could easily make like a switch that will allow you access inside of there. But you can add windows and stuff as you like. You can add birch fence around the doors, you know, in any particular manner. You can really customize it in any way that you like. But what's important is that there is an entrance of some sort on the left side there. The other kind of like ground story entrances, there's one here. So where you actually like enter onto the decking on the right side, there is going to be a door right here in the middle of this row of 3 right here. So that is where I want another main entrance to be. I'd recommend having a little window here just to the left of it because it kind of highlights it. I also like the idea of carving out a little bit of the like decking area next to the stairs. I kind of just like that. I don't know why. It adds a little bit of something interesting. You could even perhaps have the opposite shape here, and maybe you could have that as a window. Again, like this thing is really moldable. You can kind of do what you want to this house. It's got so many things you can do to it. It's so big and empty. On the second story of the house, I want to have 2 entrances also. One is here underneath this balcony area, and it's just going to be a single door. So we're going to have to place something to so that we can house it. So a single door here. Going to knock out this block and place a window to the left of it, like that. That's how we're going to have that particular entrance. Along this wall, I like the idea of having a few windows, so perhaps just some single windows along this wall, and maybe even here as well. That works out quite nicely. Over here, I like the idea of having a double entrance. So this double entrance is going to be a bit different, making it a little bit special. We're going to have a couple of oak wood doors with a bit of glass above them. So just like that. So you can see they're all that's the first story and the second story entrances, and we've added just a little tiny bit of windows, and it does make a huge difference. So when it comes to the third story, we're going to have a double door here because it kind of fits the shape of the path. And you can have a couple of windows, or you could perhaps have a large window here, so you could maybe have like a big double window here if you wanted to, just like that. And of course, you know, do feel free to add a little bit of stylistic stuff around the doors if you like, or don't. You know, I quite like sort of like this sort of style. I don't like adding too much detail to it. We have a couple more doors as well. So here, leading out from the balcony area, I'm going to have a double door here, just to kind of show that you can get to the balcony. Additionally, we're going to have a doorway here, and it's actually going to mirror what we have down below. So it's going to be a single door with a single window just to the left of it as well. So that actually kind of covers all of the entrances to the actual house itself. There are a couple of things that I want to add around the house, though, that are a little bit extra, a little bit interesting. So we're actually going to be adding a Nether portal that requires oak wood slabs, obsidian, flint and steel. We're additionally going to be adding some hedging. We're going to be adding a little bit of flowers. We're going to be adding some plants as well. We'll need a hoe for that, and we'll also need some water and probably some other things along the way. But when it comes to the Nether portal, I actually want it to be right here. So where we have this big open space, I want to kind of dig into this wall, and I'm going to knock out the first, I think is it 3 or 4 rows? I'm going to knock out 4 rows of 4 right here. And I'm going to place the portal frame inside of the space that I knocked out. The actual portal, though, will have to connect underneath in level with the decking. And I'm going to place a separating row of oak wood slabs across the top half of the portal, which I think also creates a good opportunity for a little window just above here, right in the middle, like a double white stained glass pane window. Looks quite nice. If we light the portal up, perfect, then you can see it just adds a really cool design feature to the house. I'm going to use a little bit of oak leaves on the second story as well, just around the window area, just to kind of like add a little bit of colour as well, because we are quite colourless at the moment. So a little bit of green, bit of purple. We're also going to be, of course, hoeing all of these dirt parts as well. So this is where I'm going to be placing some beetroot seeds. I'm specifically using beetroot for the colour that the plant goes. It goes a nice mixture of red and green once fully grown. So I'm specifically using beetroots, but you can use this for anything, of course. I'm going to run a row of water starting from the top here all the way down to the bottom, which kind of functions, by the way, as a little bit of a water slide if you wanted to. So it does kind of have like a little mini water slide built into this house too, which is kind of cool. So now that we have placed those plants, I also want to add some more. So there's a couple of places that I want some plants. So like here on the front of the house, maybe I'll have some oak leaves, and around this, I kind of want to just get rid of, I'd love to get rid of all of the concrete, but I don't really want to right now. So maybe some like a little bit of leaves with some flowers around. Maybe we'll have some running up the side here, a couple of flowers. Maybe some more leaves, you know, really just add a little bit of nature to the house. It doesn't take much to really improve the area quite a bit. This area here, I'm going to completely hoe, and I'm going to replace using the beetroot seeds, of course. These are all going to grow up nicely, and this is going to be a pretty little cool secret later on as well. So that's quite a lot of grass, and that's quite a lot of leaves, specifically around the front part of the house. But as it comes to the sides, like this right side here, I actually like the idea of having a bit of water between the barn and between the actual house. So it's quite a cool idea to kind of just replace a decent amount of this grass here and just have like a little pond. So this could be a fishing pond, or perhaps, you know, you could just use this as well, whatever you wanted to use it as, to be honest. But I quite like the idea of just having a little bit of water involved with the house. And that also leaves you the opportunity as well to place some like oak leaves around here, just to kind of like frame it in a little bit, just like this, if you want to. So, you know, so a little something like that. It kind of just adds a nice little style around the barn. And it really, you know, the house is just being brought together right now. I'll tell you what, let me just get rid of the concrete, and then I can show you where you might want to add a little bit of path and stuff around the house as well. There we are. That's perfect. So what I like around the house, or what I would like to add around the house rather, is a little bit of path. And I always like to create paths that lead to the important parts of the house. So in this particular case, I like the idea of adding a bit of grass path that kind of like leads you to and around the actual different parts. So here where we have kind of like this porch area, I like the idea of having a bit of grass path that connects the porch area to the second story connecting area. I also like the idea of a bit of grass path that kind of like loops around, and it will join to the front of the house as well. So where we have all of the, so where we have like the main entrance, this set of 3 stairs. And not only that, I also have a barn on the side of the house as well, which I think is important to go and, you know, go and explore and visit and kind of like just check out. So the barn as well will have a little bit of grass path around it. And once you add a bit of grass path, you'll notice that it's actually kind of cool to leave it like a little bit jagged in a particular way. And that also allows you to have some leaves like around the path and maybe some flowers, stuff like this, you know. And it kind of opens up a new design opportunity, you know, to do all of that. Additionally, like around the house, other than adding all of the path and all of the flowers and stuff, you're more than welcome, as I mentioned, to add more and more windows, specifically around the back of the house. You know, there is a large portion of the back of the house here that could have windows. Also, additionally, on the right side, you know, you might want to have kind of like a large window here, for instance. That's a little bit too low, actually. It'd actually go about here. Also, like if you wanted it like right in the middle of the house. You could add like a window there. You could even have like a little window like here on the back. You guys get the idea. Like you really want to customize it in a particular way that you yourself are going to like. So like you could add one here. You know, there's so many different ways that you really could add windows and things like that really around the house, just to kind of like make it your own, and you can make the windows more interesting than that, add trapdoors around them and stuff. But that's kind of what we're working with. So now that we have created pretty much the entire actual house itself, there are a couple of key features of the house that we do indeed need to work on, however. So now we must take care of the barn. So the barn is located on the right side of the build. It's this building here where we have this big massive roof that we took care of earlier. And the first thing that I want to do is make an entrance and an exit. So where this grass path connects, I want to have a double door. I want to have the same double door here on the back of the building as well. So you can walk literally like straight through if you choose. I also want to have maybe a double window would actually do, like just next to the door, or maybe the window could be, it'll do right there. So I want to have a double window next to the door, and additionally on the front as well. So you literally, like the front and the back are actually quite similar. I want to completely rip up the floor of the barn. So I want to rip up the floor and I want to replace it with oak wood planks. And that'll look like this. So this area being a barn means that we have to separate it into different kind of like pens, if you like. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use some oak wood planks, and we'll start from the area between the doors and the windows. And you kind of want to count out some equal spaces. So like maybe leave like a gap of 1, 2, 3, place an oak plank. 1, 2, 3, place an oak plank. I know for a fact that we can only do that twice. So if we start from the other end, 1, 2, 3, oak plank, 1, 2, 3, oak plank. And you'll notice, if we would have kept going, then we'd have an uneven amount of space. Like this middle space is actually quite a bit bigger, which is fine because we can keep horses or whatever, you know, in this middle one. So I'm going to extend the oak wood plank upwards, each by 1. I'm going to join them to the wall, every single one of them, and then this is going to kind of like make some rudimentary spaces for the animals themselves. So we kind of have to seal these areas up a little bit, so I'm going to place a little bit of birchwood slab, but additionally I'm going to place some upside down birchwood stairs as well, kind of like on the end like this. So just to make it look a little bit more artistic, I'm just going to do this. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to have that here, and we're going to have this here like that. And we want to have it, you know, you don't have to make yours look like this at all, but something like this, you know, just to have some birch slabs and birch stairs, it just makes it look a little bit fancier. I'm going to place some birch fence on top of the slabs and the stairs like this. I'm even going to have some birchwood stairs in between these because most mobs can jump like that. And we're also going to need a little bit of oak fence and some fence gates. So the gates, of course, are going to control us getting in and out, like that. And when it comes to the actual, like, the oak areas, we're going to place 2 oak fence on top of each one of these oak wood planks here. And we're going to kind of join them all together using a little bit of birch wood slabs. So I kind of want to make this look like a barn in which it has like rafters and stuff, and like it's all connected together in kind of like a medieval-y sort of feely way. So I'm also going to want to connect the birch wood slabs as well from the oak fence to the back walls too. So it's just going to look a little bit like this. And also this here, like that, and then like this. So we're going to have what looks like a very, very clean barn. Now, I don't know what you guys want to do with this barn exactly, like whether you want to keep chickens in here or sheep, but the actual inside of the barn is going to change, of course, and you're going to keep different items in here depending on what actual animals that you're going to want to keep. So I'm just going to leave this kind of like nice and blank, and then you can kind of decide for yourself like where you want to take the barn from here. But this is like a great place to stable some animals, and you know, and then actually you can add more items and more things and customize it in a way once you know what's going in here. So the last little thing that we're going to do to the barn, of course, is we're just going to put doors on it. And you can make a much bigger entrance if you like, a much bigger entrance and exit using your oak doors if you do so choose. But, you know, that way the barn is nice and complete. It's ready for use as soon as you know, figure out exactly what's going to be going in there. So, the next cool feature of this house, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that there is a mine shaft directly under the back of the house. Nice and out of the way from your actual living space, but close enough that you can actually go down there and explore. So, this is built directly onto the back of the house here, and it requires a little bit of framing. So, we take this big empty space that we have, and we start from the bottom left-hand side here. You want to count inwards, 1, 2, 3, and place an oak plank. You want to extend that oak plank upwards by 2, and then you want to leave a gap of 3, and then have the same area of oak plank. So you'll be able to see that is directly in the middle. We want to give this a roof. We're going to do that by placing birchwood slabs on the sides of these rows, extend the birchwood slabs towards us and then inwards, and up and in until they eventually create a roof. Very similar to what we've been doing pretty much everywhere else. They will, of course, want to join the back of the house like this. That's perfect. And you might even want to, like, extend it inwards on the inside. You can, if you so choose, like, knock out this middle part. You can place a little bit of a pane in there if you do so choose as well. Or maybe you could even make that a little bit higher. I haven't really decided yet. But we want to extend the birchwood slabs across left and right to join to the stables and the porch. And we're going to knock out a block underneath here on each side. And we're just going to have 2 little windows because it does just kind of look nice that way. To actually make the mine shaft itself, all we've got to do is kind of like dig out a little area. I kind of want to stylize it a little bit by placing a couple of rows of stone here, and maybe even start digging down a little bit outside of the house like this. And then all you would have to do, and I'm sure that I don't have to tell you guys this exactly, all you have to do to create the mine shaft is literally dig down. Now, unfortunately, I am in a super flat world, which means I can only dig so far down myself. So I'll dig about as far down as I can, which is about here, just like this, right? And then the mine shaft will continue forwards and inwards as far as you like. As far as you would expect a mine shaft to go, like it'd keep going down and down and down, and you know, eventually you'd hit a point where you're quite happy. Maybe it takes you to a slime farm, or you know, wherever it might go. If you want to decorate the sides of your mine shaft, which I'd highly recommend, you know, you're going to want to use a little bit of oak wood planks here, just to kind of like fill in the sides. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to want to knock out the top. That's going to want to be made out of something else. So it'll probably be made out of, you know, maybe a bit of birch or stone or something like that. You can even use, if you want, you can even use stairs in this. Like you can use upside down stairs to kind of like create an interesting sort of look as you go down into the mine shaft. You're going to want to like knock out the walls a little bit, add in a little bit of maybe we can use stone here for this purpose, and add some torches into the walls, and you know, you'll give it kind of like a nice look, just like this. Like it'll just have quite a nice look to it. You'll have you know, it'll continue on and down. You can add mine carts to it, all sorts of stuff. But that's the general gist of the mine shaft, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned, I don't really want to go into it too much because I could keep going and going and going. But you know, just keep it simple. Make the walls like oak, make the floor like stone or whatever the material on the ground is. Add in a little bit of torches, and of course you can add some rails leading into the mine shaft. You can add a little bit of featured details around as well, but we'll actually be working on that a little bit later. So now that we have the stables complete and we have the mines complete, we do have one last little thing to do, which is just a little thing, but I really like this idea for the build, and you guys might like it too. So the last little room that I want to add to the house, the last area of interest, is a hidden away, very tiny secret room hidden underneath this patch of farmland here. So if you take one of the inside turnips here, or beetroots as they are actually, and you destroy them, and you put like a little trapdoor above, and if you just dig far enough down that you want to you're kind of like out of the way from the surface, and you can just make a little room just hidden away in this little area here. So in this room you can kind of keep whatever you like. You could have an ender chest, or you know, some diamonds, or you know, you could keep something hidden away here, and you know, people probably aren't going to see it that much. And I just like the idea of just having a little room kind of just off to yourself. Nobody's really gonna I mean, nobody's going to pay that much attention as you're walking around. It's going to be hidden away in the, kind of just like in the turnips, and you can just like drop down, and you can have whatever you like down here, a chest, or, you know, armor, or resources of some particular fashion, and you can do that there. Additionally, a cool place to put one of these, by the way, is like here as well, and you also have like a way to get out too, with it being water. So if you want, just like underneath the surface here, well, in an ideal world, you would be able to, you'd actually be able to kind of like hide away underneath the water here, but I'm in a super flat world, of course, so unfortunately I do just drop through the earth. But you could have a similar sort of thing down here as well, if you so wanted to. Like, you can have all of these little rooms and places hidden away inside of your base if you wanted to. Another important thing that I feel as though that I have to show you is how you can lay the inside of your house out. So if we come inside of the house right about now, this is the house untouched on the inside. This is what we have. So it's looking a little bit empty, it's looking a little bit broken, but it doesn't take much to fix it. So here's what you can do to really spice things up a little bit. I would first of all start by adding a floor at the ground level. I prefer birch for the floor. Figure out some interior walls. So for instance, you might want to wall this area off here at the front of the base and turn it into a little hidden away room. You could do a similar thing to the area where we have all of our produce. You can add a wall and you can have a doorway into it, secret or not. You can wall off the stairs area here as well, just to the right, and you can even break into this area at the back of the house as well. You could easily turn this into another hidden away room or something else useful. So you can see that the ground level has immediately become a little bit more interesting. You can create artificial walls in the house that didn't exist. You can add like a wall here to section off the front of the house from the back of the house. You can add in a door here if you so choose. You could do the same here over on the right, so like you could add a wall in here, so you can have like 3 separate rooms that you've really got to go around and explore, and they all connect together in their own way. Once you're satisfied with the ground floor level, Step 2 would be adding a second floor in. It's quite easy to figure out where the floors go, as of course where the doors are on the outside, you simply want to run the outer decking onto the inside. Here you are more than welcome to cover up the Nether portal so that you don't accidentally slip into it as you're walking around. You can create hidden away rooms by sectioning off particular parts of the house. You can of course create rooms again by adding walls in wherever you may choose. Like here you could just have like maybe one big room, and you know, you just keep messing about until you are quite satisfied. So we'll have kind of like a free room system again for the second story, and you know, once you're quite happy and once you've got all of your entrances and exits figured out, then we would move on to the third and final floor. And you guys might already know what I'm going to suggest. The first thing that we would do, first, we add in the floor, of course. Next, we can add in walls, very much how we did down below. Not all of the walls have to be the same, by the way. You don't have to go for 3 walls every single time, but it's just like an easy way to divide up the house if you like. And you can really just customize it in a way that you like. So a cool idea would be actually like the only way to access this little room right here is that you would have to walk around the balcony. It's cool to have particular areas of the house that you can only explore through going a particular way. And that is how you kind of like piece things together, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you would work out your floors. That is how you would work out all of your rooms. And I would make it so that each floor is only accessible via the particular doors on the outside level for that floor. Meaning, the ground floor level, I'd only want to access it via the ground floor. I don't want to have interior stairs or ladders. I want people to have to explore the house. That's how I like to build houses. A lot of exploring, secrets, fun. That's how I like to build, and I'm hoping that you guys also share a similar sort of vision as well. So, just before we do finish this tutorial, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to give you a couple of ideas of how you might improve the stables and the mines, or perhaps your even little hidden away base. As we did leave them in a bit of a basic manner, but you don't have to leave them that way. You can make them far more interesting. Let me show you. So, just to give you some customization ideas, instead of having a big, empty, boring barn, you are more than welcome to kind of customize each pen depending on what you want to keep in there. You can add some lanterns, some hay, you can add some compost bins which kind of look like food troughs. You can do the same with cauldrons for water. You can label each pen for what you actually want to use them for. There's so many different things that you could do with the barn just to really customize it and make it your own. You can even like take parts out of the floor to rustic it up a little bit. You can add some windows to the outside. You really can make it your own. The same thing can be done with the mine shaft. You can see here that we have some rails, we have some stones built up outside of the mine. You can see that we have lanterns inside of the mine as well. We have connected it to the house using a little bit of grass path, and we have even customized the outside of the house a little bit further in using some leaves as well. And additionally, we have our little hidden away entrance to our secret room. In the hidden away beetroot patch, we can crack this open here, and down here you'll see that, you know, we can keep an ender chest filled with diamonds. We have a little bit of a light, a little bit of carpet, but of course, you know, you can change this in any sort of way. I just wanted to give you guys some examples of how you can make those areas but look a little bit more interesting. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I'd had a lot of fun designing and making this one for you, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys did enjoy it. Please leave a like on this video. It'd really help me out. If you're new around here, please do consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the little bell next to the subscription button, as that will ensure that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. And if you would like to make any more massive, cool survival ultimate bases, whether they be modern, survival, wooden, if you want to make some city builds, check out the card system in the description below and the top of the comment section as well, and I'll leave a cool playlist and set of playlists for you in those places that you can check out all of my stuff. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate all of you very, 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 very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.